Howdy folks, how are y'all doing? My name is Rees, or Brashiat Cub, and welcome back to Tekkit 2, the Let's Play Adventure, episode 75, where we finally done it. We finally got it done. And by it, of course, I mean high voltage solar panels. Now, I've not put in the final piece here, which I'm holding in my inventory, so technically, don't even know if this is really going to work, but we're going to hold on to that for a minute, because I got to show you everything that I did in between sort of the last segment I filmed. Well, before the last segment that I filmed for the last episode, and the last second. I got to get you caught up, basically. So I guess we'll start underneath here. And yeah, I am just kind of drawing it out. I am building tension. But I realized that we did not have enough slots open for what I wanted to do. We had to build two entirely new ones. And so, yeah, by the way, the world is it's a little bit of a lag fest. We'll deal with that when, you know, the time comes where we absolutely need to. But in order to accomplish that, I just made a couple of additional hallways. And I decided to go ahead and have this one go all the way down. And I gotta tell you, I was confused at first, because I thought I'd made it all the way to the other end of the factory, and the factory just wasn't as long as I remembered. But then, you know, you look slight to your right and you realize, oh no, this is just where the big battery is. But that's fine, that's not that big a deal. I then was tired of flying up and down through just various holes, so I made some stairs that you can use to get up and down. Now, I don't know if this is going to stay exactly like this. I thought about framing it in lights. I thought that could be interesting, even though you would see them through the ceiling here, but I don't think that would be too bad a thing. But that's not really the important part, is it, the stairs? You might have noticed that the large construct we had in the middle of the room, somewhere around in here, where we're manufacturing medium voltage solar panels, is gone. And that's because I decided to take a completely different approach to this. Now, the reason I didn't feel it was necessary to record all of this work was because we were basically just doing things that we'd already done before, but we were just sort of re-implementing them in a slightly different way. So let me show you what I consider to be the bog standard representation of what we've got going on here, alright? We start at the end with our materials chests. We are, of course, using ender chests to carry items from up above, as well as items from within this room to other areas. So that is connected up to just a big old obsidian chest that's being used for overflow. That is configured with an item sink that is set to default route, so just kind of anything in this area that we end up with too much of can just get dumped in there, and because there's also a provider module, it can be pulled out as well. We have our logistics crafting table with the logistics crafting pipe. After, you know, all of the experiments we did in the previous installment trying to figure out how to make this work, I realized, you know, maybe I'd given the logistics crafting pipe too much grief, and maybe I just wasn't using it properly. So I sort of approached it a little bit differently with this setup. It goes down here, where it gets dumped into the ender chest, and the ender chest is what determines how many of an item we have. Well, no, actually, it's this active supplier module, and for now I have it set to 64 copper cables, and the reason for that was just because we have so many more in this black hole unit. So you'll notice not every crafting station, most of them do, but not all of them have a black hole unit. That's just because we had so many of some items that I didn't want the black hole storage unit to go to waste. Just stick a hopper on there, hop them into here. We'll be running on copper cables for a while, and this is basically the same setup I've used for everything. So we've got gold cables here, we have the 4X cables here, the 4X high voltage cables, we have glass fiber cables, not because we needed those automated, but just because sometimes I need them. And we do kind of have an automation system for it back there, but it's easier to just come over here and grab a stack or so. We have, well, pretty much everything over here. I forgot about these. I forgot that we needed the plasma cables. If I had remembered, I would have set them up right here in line with all the other cables, but yeah, it's okay. We can let that go, or maybe I'll have to move it at some other point. But as you can see, basically just taking that exact same design idea, I continued to implement it for all of these different stations, and some of them do require more items than others. I think the most we ever reached was 5. That might even be right here with the assembly of the IV transformer. Now, we have different amounts of these being generated depending on what goes into them, so a stack of HV transformers, or even I think a stack of EV transformers isn't that difficult. Once we got to the IV, if you have a look at the ingredients, these PEZs are a little bit hard to come by, because if we come over here, these are a little bit hard to generate, because they require if you have a look inside of here, the plasma cell and the magnets. And the magnets, I think we might be good on right now. No, okay. We're going through magnets as quickly as they're manufactured. We're doing a little bit better on plasma cells, but we might need to reconfigure our magnetic system here. I didn't want to do that right now, though. I wanted to generate high-voltage solar panels in an automated fashion, because this is episode 75. It's our 750th anniversary, or something like that. So, you know. Oh, also, what is going on over here? Oh, yeah, I also set up advanced machine block automation, although I can't help but notice I completely forgot to actually set up, like, the frames and everything for that. Did I get the little floaty thing? This is something else I did. So it's just a white stained glass, the invisible frame, and then 4 of the items, and that's how I'm able to spot from a distance where different things are. Like, I know that generators are being generated here. Not because I remember that, but because I saw generators up there. So much more convenient. I don't think we need these in any of the recipes, but I decided to go ahead and automate them because I've needed them a couple of times, because I've blown up a couple of machines here recently, and it's just super convenient being able to come over here and grab them. Now, you might notice that also there's some glass missing on the floor. I'm just taking this opportunity to go ahead and patch up a couple of things that I see as we go. And I have also, on the other side, been pretty diligent about adding the frames to the fronts of each of these, which I haven't done over here. I'll get back to that later. We're not going to fix that right now, because today is a very special celebratory day. Now, some of you might note that I could have condensed all this a lot more tightly. I mean, look how much just the 11 objects that go into making the medium voltage solar panel, I mean, that has ballooned to fill up so much more space. And you're right. This is not the best way to do this. This is by far not the best in terms of space savings. And I think that in the future, when we start automating weapons, we're going to go back to that design of having a wall with all of our objects. By the way, I think weapon development is going to be probably in this square or that square there. I haven't quite decided, but just a wall with all the ingredients we need, and then a series of crafting table with the crafting pipe and a storage device. Crafting table, crafting pipe, storage device, crafting table, crafting pipe, storage device. Fit it all in nice and tightly. The reason we didn't do that over here, and some of you aren't going to like this logic and reasoning here, but I just wanted to do it like this. I had been experimenting with using these as a way to move everything around, using the firewall pipes to isolate them, and I wanted to see that through to completion. Some things couldn't really be shrunk down. For example, you can't really condense this much because you have to have a bunch of extractors, but we don't have to be using these item translocators and things like, oh my gosh, this is actually empty. It actually did it. It actually did it. Oh my gosh. What a momentous day. Let's get that out of here. That's pretty exciting. How much of this do we have? 3 million. Okay. Not too shabby. Well, for things that require a bunch of machines, yeah, that's just how big it's going to be. But for a lot of this, like this here, I mean, I even did double in this slot. I just had the 2 crafting tables side by side, because one is used to craft the other, but then also we do have storage of each of them inside of here. And I think it's configured to do... Oh, are you empty? Okay. These were set up here because we had an excess, and I didn't know what else to do with them. Anyway, yes, none of this is necessary. We don't need to have the inner chests. We could just use the transport pipes to route everything around. And in future assembly lines, that's exactly what we're going to do. But for right now, I think this is all... Oh, that was an accident. For right now, I think this has been an interesting experiment. We do have some slots left open here if I want to add some other things. Mainly because I wanted to have the solar panels all in a row here at the very end. So we have our solar panel automation, our low voltage panel automation, our medium voltage, and then finally over here, the moment we have been waiting over 75 episodes for, because there were a lot of channel member exclusive in between episodes and a bunch of like fractional episodes really early on. Like I think there were 10 episodes between episode 9 and episode 10, which is ridiculous. So really, we're past episode 100 at this point, but over 75 episodes, we're finally going to automate high voltage solar panels. And I've been trying to figure out how many of these we should make, and I'm thinking we're going to go ahead and go for 8. That's enough to have one here, and 4 up here, and then 2 more to deploy. So, also, it's a nerd number. Are we ready? This is the moment we've all been waiting for. Oh, this really should actually... I see here that I've made a horrible mistake. That needs to be on there like that. There we go. How long is it going to take to generate a new one of those? I think I saw that pop up over here. Oh, there it goes. Nope, hold on. Maybe right here? Oh, yep, it's done. There you go. I guess I could have just looked up there, but I mean, honestly... Can you see the difference between this and this? I guess there's a bit of blue. There's a bit of blue in this one. I didn't realize that there wasn't any blue in this one, which is weird. I also assembled a lot of this wearing some really intense blue light glasses because my eyes were killing me, and so color wasn't rendering properly, so it really did make assigning colors to all of these chests a bit of a pain. Or at least that's what I would say if I had actual functioning eyes and I wasn't just an AI living inside of a computer. So let's go ahead and set this up. We've got this ready to produce 8 high voltage solar panels, and as far as I know, as soon as we drop this in here, it's going to begin. The moment we've been waiting for. Oh, look at him go, look at him go, look at him go, look at him go! We did it. Have we run out of anything yet? Not yet. Not yet. Actually, now that I think about it, we should never run out of the medium voltage. Oh, wait, hold on. Wait, are these the medium voltage? I'm pretty sure we have so many more of those in a chest somewhere. Then again, maybe not. Actually, now that I think about it, didn't we have somewhere in the neighborhood of... What was it? Was it like... I think we had 400 and something of them. How many were in here? So the 64 times 8 is 512. And then plus 5, and then plus the few that were just used. So yeah, I guess they were all in there. And you can see that I did have a black hole unit full of them. I just wasn't sure if maybe there was somehow 2 black hole units. It felt like there should be more. But then again, 400, or however many were in there before, looks like a bigger number than a bunch of 64s. Because, like, do you do that math in your head just looking at it? I didn't think so. Alright, well now we've got to take 6 of these out of here, as previously stated. They're not even going to get to be used. So one's going to go there, one's going to go there. And then up here, going to have a series of them. This might feel, like, painful to some of you. The fact that they're not even going to get used. They're just going to get left up there. But, oh boy, just you wait. Because now we got to grab another 7, I think it would be. And by the way, yeah, they're getting generated really fast right now. But this is not to last, okay? Because what goes into that IV right here, like, you have a look at this recipe. These are objects that, you know, we're going to run out of here pretty quickly. We're going to run out of these here pretty quickly just because we have to ramp up plasma production. I think also magnet production needs to be ramped up. Yeah, I got rid of a lot of the assembly lines kind of like this. Like, this one's still here for now, but I wouldn't expect it to be for very long. I think we'll probably move stone production up top and just convert this to an assembly line like the rest of these. This one is set up a little differently because this is one of the early ones before I started putting the ender chest down at the end. So I'll probably redo that one as well at some point in the future. Get them all looking more like this. And there's a bunch of free space here, but it is what it is. Now what we want to do is we want to go outside here and we want to go ahead and replace some of these. Well, I mean, we've already got one of them up here, which is why I only grabbed 7. Of course, the real issue here is that the way that this is currently configured, adding this isn't going to matter because, sure, like the power is going to go into the cable and into the MFE, but the MFE is a bottleneck. We've discussed this pretty much every time we've come out here to do this. The MFE is now a bottleneck to the high voltage solar panels. How do I get back there? I guess up here. Is this the only way up here? Is there actually no other way to get up here other than flying? I'll have to address that. You know, I like to have a way to get around everywhere by just walking. I don't like to have any place that can only be reached by flying, which is why, you know, I've added staircases here, so you can get up and down from here properly. And, oh boy, even when this was just a giant hole in the ground, and that was the only way to get underneath the factory, even way back then, there was a ladder somewhere in that back corner over there. There we go, toss in some medium voltage solar panels. Lovely. So the easiest way to rid ourselves of this bottleneck is to simply get rid of that and plug it in directly. So we should have some cables inside of here for that. And if we don't, that is to say I don't immediately see them inside of here, well, fortunately we know exactly where to get some because they're all being stored right over here. If we wanted to, we could swap this out with an MK2 and stick in a provider module, and then we can use our remote orderer to order items and have them be delivered to us in various places. So we could have like a remote order set up right up here or upstairs, and we could do that with all of the different machines. So we could actually do that with every single one of the ender chests, just make sure there's a provider on them, and then run a pipe up to the house there, and I can order anything that I need, which is probably something we should do, now that I think about it. But here, we can just plug that in directly, and now each one of these is outputting, per tick, 512 volts. Well, no, 512 EU, what I should say, per tick, and all of those are traveling down. Oh, shoot. Actually, yeah, no, you're also going to be a bit of a burden, aren't you? You're going to have to also come up. There you go. Come back here, you. I can't leave you. This is going to drive me crazy if I know that you're in here. I cannot allow that. There we go. So now, that is traveling all the way down, and no longer being bottlenecked. What is that? Oh, gosh. See, we're seeing all kinds of problems here today. I can leave that piece of stone down there. I just have to make sure that we get this piece of marble in place. Yeah, whatever, that piece of stone can... I don't care. And then finally, we have the last bottleneck here, which is this MFE, which is now our MFSU, I should say. Now, we are finally bottleneck-free with that connection all the way back to here. To what end? I don't know. Oh, this is actually... Really? We're actually running out of power in the PESU! I didn't realize we were consuming so much power. But it makes sense, you know? It really does make sense when you take into consideration everything that's going on here. We do have, first off, 4 or 5 of these, I think 4 HV transformers, so that's supplying full high voltage to a bunch of things. And then we have, this is consuming a ton of power, I assume. It's consuming power. It is consuming power. All of these are running full board, trying to fill up these MFSUs. That's actually where probably most of the power is going. By the way, yeah, look here. I told you that these would slowly fill up one after the other, and it's happening, so we'll get there eventually. Well, now we know that we got the high voltage solar panels done at just the right time, because, boy, we need them if we're going to keep... Oh, you know what I forgot? The nuclear reactor. I still don't know when that thing blew up. I still have no clue when that thing went down, but without it, these are getting full power, yeah. That's like a huge dent to our energy production, and that's probably why, because all of this is tied into the same grid. That's probably why we're having some electrical problems now. That's probably why the PESU is actually running out. It's having to supply all of the power to the entire facility, and the solar shelf was never designed to do that. The solar shelf, as it was, you know, mere moments ago, before we started plugging in a ton of high-voltage solar panels, it was only ever designed to supplement the power from the reactor. But, boy, yeah, now things have changed. And we're going to have to work ourselves to the bone here, swapping all of these out for high-voltage solar panels, and the sort of vague hope that, gosh, man, I hope we're able to supply enough power to the whole system. And I'm kind of being, I'm doing a little bit of a bit right now here. See, I'm kind of being a little bit silly and goofy, because, you know, if we can get all of these replaced with the high voltage. Remember, each high voltage solar panel is the equivalent of 8 medium voltage solar panels. So by replacing one solar panel, well, let me try that again. By replacing this entire bank with just one of these, we're matching the power. And by adding 8 of them, we are... That'd be 8 times the power? Let me try to say that again, and let me try to do it in a way that makes a bit more sense, okay? So, one high-voltage solar panel produces the power of 8 medium-voltage solar panels, which means that 8 high-voltage solar panels produces an equivalent power of 8 of these banks. And I don't even remember how many there are. Let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is there 14 total? Yeah. So that one bank down there, during the day, has enough power to produce as much electricity as all of these here. So, yeah, I think we're going to be okay when it comes to power. But first off, we need to go take a nap and make sure it stays daytime. Don't we have actually a bed down here? Isn't that something that we did at one point? Yeah, I thought so. I remember tucking a bed away inside of here. So it's now daytime. Okay, so once we plug this in, we now have 2 whole banks of high voltage being fed into here. And that's a lot of power. And in fact, if we pull out our energy meter, we can get a little idea of how much power that is. So, I mean, you know what? Let's actually go way back here. And we're going to start back here, because this will be the representative of these 2 banks exclusively, I think. Hello? 8,786.44. Not too bad. Not too bad. Okay, but then how much of, if you combine all these like medium voltage arrays with that, what are we looking at here? 11,000. And then how much is actually leaving here? 65. Okay. So just based on that, when we look inside of here, what we should see is that this is going up. Yeah. Okay. We're going to be okay. I think that we can take down all these HV flux cables, though, because I don't think we're still using those anywhere. Except for right here, but this is going to be all remodeled anyway. Yeah, they're not being used over here. And then they don't even go down here. So, you know what? It's a sad, sad day, HV flux cables. It really is. But you just didn't quite make it to the end. It's sad. It's sad because it's technically done. And we could walk away from this and this would just work, right? I mean, sure, it would work at, what is this, like 30 FPS? 34, 25, 36, somewhere in that range. We could just walk away and leave all of this and it'll just run passively in the background. Now, it won't be generating these passively, because I only ever tell it to keep 8 on hand. But what we need it to be generating passively in the background is these, because we're going to run out of those soon. And these, because we're going to run out of those soon. And, I mean, we're already out of them. And then all of this over here, I mean, these are doing okay. And then I think this is probably, yeah, this is going to fill up again eventually. If we're patient, it's going to get there. I mean, I will go ahead and grab another 8 of these, and I do not expect to have everything we need to generate another 8 immediately, although having said that, it looks like we did. But we're eventually going to get to a point where we've kind of exhausted all of our resources in that regard, and we're not going to get any back, and that's okay. Of course, the question is now, is this where we leave it? Now that we have automated high voltage, is that good enough? Or do we go further? I'm going to leave you folks up to this. I'm going to let you folks decide this. There are other solar options. There's the advanced solar panel. Okay, there is the hybrid solar panel. There is the ultimate hybrid solar panel, which is where you take a high voltage solar panel and a hybrid solar panel and a bunch of other stuff that looks like it's just an absolute pain in the neck to go back and automate, you know, and you combine all that together to generate less power. Oh, no more. It actually doubles the power output. That's interesting. I didn't know it did that. From 512 to 1024. It outputs extreme voltage. And I believe it also stores energy, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that it's got its own built-in storage. Yeah, here we go. So, according to this wiki, which is a little outdated, it says they generate 512 EU during clear days and 64 EU during the nights and rainstorms. So obviously it's doubled in this pack at least, where they're generating over 1,000 during the day, and then even still 128 at night and during storms, I assume. This doesn't mention that they have any kind of internal storage, which is kind of what I thought they had. I thought that these solar panels had their own built-in storage, and I guess I might have just imagined that. I'm going to go ahead and add all 3 of these over here. And these are definitely things, I mean, look, this we could almost have going. We just have to figure out how to automate, like, all of these different, well, it's going to be a bit of a project if we wanted to actually do that. And we might. But I'm automationed out right now. I'm tuckered out on automation. I want to do something else. Hey, wait a minute. Why is that? Why is there why are we doing it like this? Hold on. Hold on just a second. Hold on. If I go up here and we stop right here, looky there. Yeah, here we go. Here's what we're going to do, okay? There's one framed door, and then you come down here and you have the other one. And there, that makes so much more sense than what we've been doing, which is, well, okay, let's not do that. There's still the invisible pressure plate, so we can get inside, hang a left, come right into... Well, why weren't you in the way earlier? Oh, you weren't there earlier, right. Okay, this can be fixed. This is not that big a deal. This can be fixed quite easily. We just move where the slant is located. Okay, you know what? Better idea, better idea. Surely there's like a framed slab. There we go. Just tuck that into this corner here. Perfect. And then we can just like pop down here, go outside, head back in, right inside of here. Wonderful. What was I in the middle of? Oh, right, my wrench died. I think the fastest way is still to go... Now, wait a minute. Now wait just a darn minute. We changed this thing. We changed this thing. We reconfigured this. I'm not crazy. Oh my gosh. Everyone needs to calm down. Everyone needs to calm down! I can't even get to the switch! You know what? I've got a solution. Here we go. You know what? There we go. Okay, there we are. You all saw me. We changed this thing to go off once every... Gosh, get out of the way! We gotta get them all out of here is what we gotta do. Well, it looks like they're doing it just fine. Fine, we'll just leave. Eventually they'll clear the room out. What in tarnation? Oh my gosh, I can't even move things around in my inventory because there's too many eggs and feathers. What happened to you? That's still the real question here, is what happened to my gosh darn nuclear reactor? Because you know what was great about that, even if we are getting most of our energy from solar, how are they getting up here? Are they using the teleporters? Are they figuring that out? I don't even remember what I was doing. I was right, I gotta recharge my wrench. It was great to have it as a backup, you know, and at night it was still generating some power. That was great. That was good. Oh, I guess while we're down here, now's as good a time as any to go ahead and mention that the reason I've not been so worried about the channel members is because I found this sign out here. And it says, we've gone out fishing, XOXO channel members. So, I don't know exactly where they've gone fishing. They don't appear to be over here with Baz. He's got a little fishing thing going on here. Baz, you haven't seen a bunch of crabs with human names, have you? Okay, well, I guess he is not. But I'm not too worried about him, because I can't figure out why someone would kidnap the channel members and then leave behind a sign saying, like, gone fishing. Like, who would do that? So I'm assuming they're okay. We're just not going to worry about it right now. But I found that. I just forgot to mention that in a previous installment. Some people have been showing concern that I'm not concerned about their whereabouts. I just wanted to explain why I'm not concerned. It's because clearly they've just gone fishing. Like, that's all there is to it. They're just out there. I don't know. I mean, there are crabs after all, so maybe they're big fans of fish. Crabs eat fish. I've seen that before. There's a guy on YouTube who marks lobsters, and he gives them a fish before he sets them back out into the ocean. And lobsters are just really long crabs when you think about it. And crabs are just, you know, long lobsters is what I just said. And a lobster is just a short crab. And it's also the scorpion of the sea. So I don't know what any of that means, other than if lobsters can take care of themselves, I'm sure channel members can too. Where's the invisible pressure plates I always grab by accident? You can tell me I'm able to, like, accidentally grab them when I mean to grab something else, but now that I actually need them and they're no doubt right in front of me, I'm not going to be able to locate them. No, but really, where are they? There they are. Obsidian pressure plates. Lovely. Gonna go ahead and plop that down right here. Perfection. Remember when this used to go somewhere useful? Like, you used to be able to go up here, and it would take you out. Oh. I did not realize that this would still take me somewhere. Never mind, I take it back. Righto. With that taken care of, now we can come down here, and we can get a new reading. And I think probably it's going to take into consideration that first new reading and give me a big old number. That's a big old number. That can't be right. Hold on, let's do that again. Starting new. Oh, is this... This isn't full. What's happening? Oh, I guess it got dark outside is probably what happened. The sun was setting. That definitely explains things. See, that's why it would be beneficial to have the advanced solar panels to produce power even at night. And then we won't have to worry so much about sleeping, because heaven knows I normally don't worry so much about sleeping, especially when I have the nuclear reactor providing power at all times. So let's take a new measurement here. That's not very impressive. Here, let's do it here. This might be cheating because we're taking into consideration the one directly above it as well, but that's not that much better. That's better than, like, over here, though. Oh. Hold on. If I read right here, what happens? What? Why is this side producing the same amount as this side when this side has all the high-voltage solar panels? That's super sus. Like, everything beyond this point here in particular ought to be producing... Yeah? This is what we expect. Uh-huh. Should get another 1,000 or so every time we go along here. This should be about 14 some odd, yeah. A little closer, but not quite to 15. Yep. Just over 15. Yep. And then you get to here. Well, now I'm just confused. Maybe it was because it was early morning. That must have been what it is. But that's what I would expect to see. I would expect to see this side putting out about 15,000, this side putting out about 4,000. That's good. And we're generating more power than we're consuming, and that's what matters most. Now, if we wanted to still have power storage, what we could do is we could slap an MFSU onto the bottom of each one of these high-voltage solar panels. We could do that. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. We've got the MFSUs. We didn't even have to make new ones. I just harvested these, because remember, each one of these banks was connected up to at least 3. And so, you know, I had 9 of them. So, I mean, am I going to do that for all of these? I don't know, maybe. I'm just thinking that it would be good once the PESU's full, these will fill up, and then at night, these can, like, act as a buffer to drain and keep the PESU full. And then when the sun comes back up, it'll, you know, keep the PESU topped off and slowly refill the MFSUs. Maybe. Maybe. I mean, obviously right now they're not filling up because they've got a 1-to-1. All the power going into them is also coming out of them. Yeah, I guess I better go grab some more MFSUs. I guess I better do this everywhere. I'll tell you what I think I need to do. I think what I need to do is automate MFSU production. Because sitting here and, like, slowly funneling in all these... I mean, we have... everything except for the MFE being manufactured already, and then the MFE we have everything for, and we do have 2 slots left. Heck with it! Let's just go automate it! I can't be bothered. That's where we're at now. We have 2 slots, we got everything we need down here. This is gonna take me like 10 minutes to get set up. And we've got the 2 slots for it. We got MFE, we'll do them right next to each other. MFE, what goes in an MFE? Hold on. Let me, like, verify this real quick. Yeah, no, we can use gold cables or we can use copper cables. It doesn't matter. And then the MFSU, heck, we can do these both in one slot, kind of like we did the crystals over here. And I suppose we'll do them, like, right here. Why not? Okay, so come to find out, actually, this is not hooked up to the solar grid outside. I thought that it was, but it is not, which is odd, because I'm very confused by that. I came down here, I needed more logistics firewall pipes in the middle of trying to make them. Yeah, okay, so this just goes into this basement here. And then it connects up to all of this in one direction. Oh, well, if I break that then, okay, and then we add ourselves... First off, what are you two doing? Oh, you're powering the teleporters, obviously. Right, okay. Here we go. Now everything should be set up to go in both directions. If I head back upstairs here, that should now be providing power all the way down to here, and that should be getting juice now. I discovered this because I was trying to cook something up here in the oven, and it wasn't getting power, and it's still not getting power. Are you not getting power? You're also not getting power, even though we just confirmed... Alright, well then there must be something else in the basement preventing it from powering up. I'm assuming it's going to end up being something like more MFSU, or did we disconnect this at some point? Hold on, so all this is plugged in. This goes nowhere. This goes this way. And I thought I had a memory of it all. Oh, okay, alright. Hold on, but this goes this way. So all of this... Right, just makes a big circle. I never finished this. I forgot about this. I forgot about all of this. I can't believe we just have these empty and unfinished hallways. How long ago was that? I've just not been over that. That's great. That's great that we're in such a position that we can have a hallway that just goes into bare cave and it's just wide open and it's like, yeah, the facility's that big. It's just me here. I forget sometimes. That's funny. That's like when, you know, like it's like Hogwarts in a way, isn't it? Where you have this castle so huge. Yeah, there can just be a monster living in it and people don't notice. It's just that big. People aren't everywhere all of the time. There's classrooms people haven't been in 100 years. It's fine. I don't know what all this is about, like what all these shapes and everything are. I don't really remember a lot of what was happening over here. But I can see immediately what's happened, and I can see immediately what we need to do to fix it. So first off, gotta plug that in. And then that should run the length of the rest of this place, all the way down to... Oh, but interesting. Right. Okay, well, we need a high-voltage transformer, then. It's interesting that all of the MFSUs and MFEs and everything hooked up out there kept everything powered this long, because power's apparently been disconnected for a while, ever since, apparently, the reactor blew up. I don't know when, but let's see. We should be able to find a high-voltage... Would that be these here? Yeah, HV transformer. Give me one of those. How fun it must be to pop in on episode 75 and see... Oh, he's just doing stuff with electricity again. What fun. Like, can we just plug that in directly? And I do think we want that to be facing the other direction. I think I've plugged in enough of these to know that we want the red facing that way. There we go. And hopefully nothing blows up now as a result of that. Although I don't know why it would, because that should just run down here, go over there, and then you need to go. Plug that in directly. There we go. And now, theoretically, if we work our way backwards, all the way along in here, we'll eventually get to a point where we have power upstairs, right? I don't think there's any more bottlenecks. Take me away. Yeah, there we go. Awesome. We need to do more with power, though. We are generating more power now than we can, I think, extract from the system the way we currently have it configured. I might be wrong on that. Oh, gosh. Gotta wait on all of these to warm back up now. Has this broken my infinite EMC machine? This is very important to me, even though I keep forgetting to come over here and check on it. It's very important that we have it running. Especially now that we don't have one in the basement anymore. Because of them witches. If I had any snap whatsoever, I would have automated this process a long time ago. The manufacturing of all these different modules and pipes and everything. I mean, having that crafting table there makes it a whole lot easier. We would not be where we are today without it. But I mean, even that said, I definitely feel like we would have been better served if we'd automated it all. It'd definitely be less fiddly to deal with. Alright, get that back on partial, and then we can't do MFEs and MFSUs all right here using this sort of a layout because there's just not enough space. So I just didn't even bother, but there you go, there's the MFEs, and that should be kicking off any second now, I'm sure. There we go. And there's two of them. What did we run out of? Oh! Oh, probably the crystals. Are those still set up with this sort of a system? You know, something else we should probably do is move these now. And hook those up kind of similar to what we've done with all of the other large black hole storage units for things that we had way too much of. Goodness gracious, I'm running out of room in my inventory for all this. But what I mean is we're going to set up the hoppers here, and then we're going to put in... Which one are you? You are nothing. You are Lapotron crystals, so you'll go there. And then you must be the energy crystal, so you'll go there. Lovely. So that ought to go a pretty good long ways toward keeping these from actually having to manufacture any, although it does look like they're being consumed faster than the hopper is dropping them in there, but I'm not too pressed about it, because it's only going to go until we have 64 MFEs. So I'm going to go ahead and say that we'll probably be okay going with, say... Well, actually, I was going to go with 16, and then I went right past it. But 16 MFSUs in stock at all time ought to be plenty, and I can't remember what I said to keep stocked up on with MFEs. I think it was 64. Just because they're a lot cheaper and fewer resources go into them. But with that, we've now got 6 of them, and I wonder what we ran out of. It's the Lapotron crystals. You can only fit so many in the crafting grid at a time. That's why they take longer in this sort of a setup, and that's okay. You may notice that back over here, we did go back to this setup, even though, yeah, we have to wait on the Lapotron... well, hold on. Yeah, the Lapotron crystals to, like, filter into here, and it's a bit of a thing, but... And they don't stack, so it's a little bit slow, but it's fine. It gets the job done. So this is ticking away. This is filling up. We got 16 of those, and 16 is exactly how many we need, actually, to do what we're doing over here. And, oh boy, it's going to be so exciting in the future when I need more to just go grab them out of there and not have to go manually build them myself. Automation's the best, isn't it? This is what Tekkit is truly all about. So we're at a point where we are no longer bleeding energy. The PESU is filling back up, and in time, we will be filling up the MFSUs that the high voltage solar panels upstairs are hooked into, and I think something we might do also is just continue to replace everything on the solar shelf until it's all high voltage. At that point, we'll have enough power to do anything we could possibly imagine. We're not going to be hurting for electricity, which is good. We could still do that thing where we break out from the, what does IV stand for? Insane voltage to 4 extreme voltage transformers, and then that would get us a lot more power on the grid overall to work with, because right now we've only got 4 high voltage packets per tick coming out of the EV transformer, and eventually we're going to get a point that's not enough. We're going to need more than that. So, and of course we are now automating the production. You know, why am I even talking? Let's just go ahead and do that now. I was going to leave the episode on that, and why would we do that? Why would we leave the episode there when we can fly over here and then tucked away right behind the IV transformers, which is what these are. Yep, we have, look at that, EV transformers. We'll grab 3 of them. I shouldn't have done that, because that's going to trigger this thing to start producing, like, bunches of them. It didn't. I guess I got them back in there fast enough. If that did happen, even though I don't think it would put the excess in here, it would probably drop them in here, so it would be fine. But we've got the 3 of these now. Oh, and before we do anything, we do need some additional cables. Insane voltage might be too much, because I think that the 4... These cables can carry extreme voltage. I think we actually need to go up to these for insane voltage. So we'll just grab a few of them. We don't need many, maybe 8 of them. It's probably more than we'll end up needing. We'll find out. In order to avoid accidentally blowing anything up, I'm going to go ahead and disconnect power just to be on the safe side. And then we're going to get to work here. So how are we going to configure this? We need to configure this in such a way that it comes out of here into 4 of these, or 3 of them. You know what? We don't need this here anymore, so first off, we can get rid of that. That can just go. That takes care of that problem. And then, what we can do is we can take this down. Alright, and then I'm thinking that we can use this. I guess we'll find out here in a minute when we start hooking things up to it. And in fact, I guess we ought to do a test just to make sure that I can, in fact, stick an EV... It needs to go the other way. Yeah. Okay. And then what I was going to say is we can clear these away here. And actually, we do need to go 1 block above, because we've got to make sure that we have nothing exposed except for marble, because otherwise that just looks cheap and lazy. So have that cable there. 4 of these. And we do want to make sure that they're reversed. Lovely. And then we can feed them all back down into the 4X cables, and we don't have enough of them now, so we'll need to go grab some more of those, and we can put away the rest of these plasma cables while we're at it. So you might be wondering, geez, what have we actually accomplished here? If you didn't watch and thoroughly pay attention to the video I did explaining how high voltage energy works, at a very different time, when this whole room was basically empty and we had plenty of room to experiment. How long ago those sweet summer days were, am I right? Let's see, give me maybe... I'll take 8 of those. Or, like, a whole stack is what I almost pulled out of there. There we go. And we can tuck these back away. I didn't really think about setting up any sort of system that would allow me to automatically dump things into a chest and have them return to their source. That wasn't a part of this setup, so we'd have to change a lot of things to make that work. But we might change a lot of things in the future anyway. Again, I just wanted to get this running. I just wanted to say, look, we did it. We automated high voltage. Can it be done better? Yes. Will it be done better? Probably. We'll probably change the whole setup someday, but at least we got it done. So now, hopefully nothing blows up when I plug this in. I hated how long that was frozen for a second. It was like the game was trying to decide whether or not it was going to blow up. But how are we doing right now? Beautiful. 13,826 EU per tick. So the way that this works, again, remember, when you have something like a PESU, the PESU is putting out 1 packet of... Is there something beyond insane voltage, or is the insane voltage stepping it down? It's ludicrous voltage. So let's go through it. We've got ludicrous voltage insane voltage, extreme voltage, and then high voltage. So the way that this works, and I know a lot of you have been paying attention, so you know this already, and you probably even knew it going into the series. You didn't need me to explain it, but for everyone at home who's just a little bit curious and maybe doesn't quite recall, or is hopping in on this episode for the first time, God bless you if that's the case. Thanks for sticking through it, though, to this point, you lunatic. The PESU, is capable of outputting 1 packet per tick of ludicrous voltage, which is accepted by the insane voltage transformer, the IV transformer. It puts out 4 packets of insane voltage for every 1 packet of ludicrous voltage. So the problem is, if we go from the insane voltage to the extreme voltage transformer, even though this is capable of putting out 4 packets, this is only capable of receiving 1. The other 3 just go into non-existence. Now, the power doesn't actually get wasted, but it's just not getting output. So it's a potential energy that we're not tapping into. So what we do instead is we split 4 different EV transformers, each one capable of receiving that 1 packet from the IV transformer, and then those go out and combine into this network where we are now capable of extracting, because each one of these, how many? 4, 8, 12, 16. So every tick, we're getting 16 packets of extreme voltage, which is enough to feed 16 high voltage transformers, enough power for each of them to put out 4 packets of high volt. So what we've effectively done is we've quadrupled the potential output of our energy coming out of here. We're not producing more energy necessarily, because production of energy is determined by our solar panels. It's just how much we can extract from the PESU at any given time has been quadrupled, which means that hopefully certain things further along the network here won't be bottlenecked in the future, and that shouldn't have had a profound impact on the PESU, because I think in general we're consuming less power than we are producing. We can just check directly on here, though, so we can just... so that's 1,000 ticks in and 16,000 out. Are you draining? Is it dark outside? It might be dark outside. That would explain why that's happening, and that's easy to go ahead. Well, there you go, everyone. There's that. That problem solved. Now, we know from earlier in this very episode that if we try to check it first thing at sunrise, the power output that we're getting right now is not going to be very high. I take it back. It's already at 10,000, and that's not even this entire lineup here. So let's go back to here. We'll start our reading, wait a couple of seconds, check it now. There we go. So yeah, we're putting out 16,446, but we're taking in 20,553. Where is all that power going? Why are we consuming so much power? Oh, I'm assuming there's a lot of now empty MFEs and MFSUs back up at the house that need to be refilled. And in fact, if we have a look, right now we're trying to power everything up at the house just off of this HV transformer, which is putting out 4 packets of high voltage energy, which is probably enough for everything going on up there. But yeah, I mean, the entire house is pulling 219, which means that all of the actual power consumption is coming from over here. What do you know? That's less than 16, though. Oh! The math doesn't quite add up there to me. I feel like there's some power loss happening somewhere, and that's okay. I'm not too pressed by it. So here's an interesting use case, right? We've got an MFSU here. So the HV transformer is capable of outputting 4 packets of high voltage, but then running it through the MFSU, even though it can accept 4 packets, and it can only output 1. So that could present a bottleneck, except it's immediately going into an MV transformer, which itself is only capable of accepting 1 packet of high voltage anyway, meaning that, no, it's not a bottleneck, it's fine, because the 4 coming out of here would only ever be 1 going into here, so adding the MFSU in the middle doesn't matter. Where it would matter is back here, where we did at one point have an MFSU, and we ended up swapping it out instead for 2 HV transformers, so that's 8 packets of high voltage energy, which is good, because each one of these is capable of consuming a full packet of high voltage energy per tick. These MFSUs up here are, of course, feeding the mass fabricators. Each one is capable of... So we do need 8 packets of high voltage energy to keep these running at full speed. I'm not sure if the amplifiers make it go faster or make it use less power. Maybe both. I'm not sure. But fact is, yeah, we definitely want all those packets. We don't want to add an MFSU before these MFSUs, because that would limit the total number of packets. And then, of course, this is plugged in directly and going into this, and I am curious how much energy is just... Hold on, let's take our reading right here, actually. What? Okay. Apparently, 9,650-ish EU per tick is being used exclusively and solely to power the 2 of these plasma fires. Boy howdy, I had no idea. Oh, gosh darn it. I had no idea it took that much power. That's interesting, though. That's... So... A large portion of all of the energy being consumed right now is going into these 2 plasma fires. Actually, what is that? What did we say it was? Was 16,000 being extracted at any given time? What did this say? So that's 9,600. And then passing through here at any given second, 13,000. More than half. More than half of the energy being pulled from our PESU is going to those 2 plasma fires. Fantastic. Just wonderful. Just absolutely wonderful. Now, of course, we continue to not have enough magnets. So I think we're going to have to build another charged electrolyzer and figure out how to fit it up here. We might have to redo this system here of moving the magnets using the item conduit. Like we can transfer this whole system over. It'll be fine. It's no big deal. I mean, the way that we're doing things here right now is a little bit clumsy. And using a method that is now retired, even though it was exactly the way I set it up intentionally in what, like literally the last episode, the episode before that. Yeah, we're gonna have to completely change that. Maybe fit 3 or 4 charged electrolyzers, because like it told me I could hook up a second MFE, and I know the MFE is hooked up correctly because I checked. It's definitely feeding its energy into the charged electrolyzer. We can even test that if you want to. We can flip that thing around and have a look at it. There we go. So if we shift and right-click, it'll face it back towards this thing. And I guarantee you, it's made no difference. It's still very slow. So maybe multiple charged electrolyzers is the way to go. Kind of feels like right now that it's the magnets that are holding us back. But we'll work on that. Now comes my impassioned plea. What do you folks want to see next? Because high-voltage solar panel automation is something we have been working on for a very long time. You might remember, before there were multiple floors full of items being generated, there was just one tiny assembly line tucked way back over here on this side of the room trying to generate medium voltage solar panels. We were doing a pretty good job. It was just taking up a lot of space. But what do you want to see now? What comes next? What do you want me to see me not just automate? What do you want me to see me? What do you want to see me do in the pack? Because we have an entire mod pack worth of stuff we could try and experiment with. So just let me know. Until next time, thank you folks for watching. God bless you. I'll see you later. Goodbye.